Over the past week, we have seen two very different types of leadership that are probably summed up best by these photographs. There's that prissy pussy Putin who sees himself as a real man, but is so terrified of catching the Omicron virus, which actually in most cases is a minor cold, and our 95-year-old queen has just breezed through it. But he's so terrified that he sits miles away from even his own generals who have been tested and had to go through some sort of sanitation tunnel before even being in this dictator's presence. From his bunker, the paranoid COVID hysteric madman is lashing out at his closest advisors over the lackluster mission in Ukraine so far. So what does he do? Well, he bombs from his bubble. He bombs civilians. He murders children in cold blood. He breaks international law. He uses vacuum bombs that suck in oxygen to generate a high temperature explosion that set off a pressure wave rupturing the lungs of its victims. Putin thinks he's untouchable, of course, but ordinary Russians risking it all to protest on the streets of 32 cities show that many of his own citizens are aghast. A bloke who used to try and show his strength by riding topless on horseback and coming face to face with tigers in the wild is a boxed-in coward with a Botoxed face who is fast losing the faith of his generals and his people. He's already lost the West, who thought he'd be the man to modernise Russia, but now view him as a despotic war criminal. Then there's Volodymyr Zelenskyy, a 44-year-old former TV comedian and actor who had fame in Russia and millions in the bank before surprisingly entering public service in 2019, winning a democratic election with a 73% share of the vote. He has remained in Kiev, even though there is a Russian execution order hanging over his head, and there are already 400 mercenaries from the Wagner Group operating the city, just waiting for an opportunity to kill him. But still, he fights on. Zelenskyy, in my opinion, has shown the world true leadership. And he isn't going anywhere. He'd rather die alongside his citizens than jump on an American helicopter out of the capital. No wonder the translator broadcasting Zelenskyy's remotely broadcast speech to the EU today got all choked up.
We are fighting just for our land and for our freedom, despite the fact that all large cities of our country are now blocked. Every square up today, no matter what it's called, it's going to be called, as today, Freedom Square, in every city of our country. Yesterday, 16 children were killed. Again and again, President Putin is going to say that is some kind of operation and we are hitting a military infrastructure. He killed 16 people just yesterday.
Now, I do appreciate that much is lost or misinterpreted in the fog of war. And there, as you would expect in any war, propaganda coming from both sides. But what we know is that Putin has launched an illegal invasion that has killed many Ukrainian citizens. And we know the Russian onslaught is slowly strangling Kiev, where Zelenskyy remains. His survival is critical for the world of the future, because I think Zelenskyy is the real leader. Putin is a child-killing coward.